Hey there, Chitheads, and welcome back to episode number 49 of Board Chitless, a podcast where we play games and then talk about them, but we don't play the games as we're talking about them because that would just lead to madness. This week we've been playing Munchkin, Moops Monster Mashup, and we've also been playing Legendary Encounters. Predator. Amazing. I'm Leki, and I'm joined by...
Tristan.
And Dave.
Fantastic. Let's get into it. Munchkin, Moops Monster Mashup, is a Munchkin game by Steve Jackson Games. It's the probably one of the most famous take-that card-based games ever. Each player is it's like a simulated dungeon crawl without any crawling, where you're each racing to get to level 10. And then on that journey, you're trying to boost yourself with items and just deal with whatever your other players can throw at you. We played a slightly shorter version of the game because I think we got bored of it before we got to the end. How did we feel about it?
Yeah, we played the special home variant where you just put it away quite quickly.
Yeah, we were playing a 5-player game, including Raphael, and everyone kind of lost interest. Although Sam did throw a baby into the mix, so that could have distracted everyone a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, there's a lot of things going wrong with it from the outset. You get dealt a hand, and then that decides whether or not you're an actual race, and then maybe a class, or you can just be a person that's neither a race nor a class. So you're sort of a floating entity, and you may have some equipment, or you might not.
It's like the game's playing you.
It's almost like the game is barely played at all.
Any equipment that you do kind of gather just gets thrown straight down onto the table. There's some limitations, like you can only have like one helmet and one piece of armor.
As the player who was significantly further ahead when we ended, I would say that lead was in no way down to anything that I did.
Well, you did pick up cards.
Well, so did you.
Cards down. Yeah.
You picked up different cards, and then that's what happened.
Yeah, you pick up different cards, and the different cards, you play those cards.
I think, Dave, you're overselling it. You're making it sound like there's more to do.
There isn't a lot to do.
There's not a great
deal. Do you know what, though? Do you know what it felt like? It felt like people were doing too much for what it was. Because turns were taking a few minutes. I know we were all night new to it, but it seemed to be, I don't know if it was because of all the distractions, but it seemed more complicated and more fiddly than maybe...
You just turn a card over.
Yeah.
Decide if you're going to beat the monster. If there's no monster there, pick the card up, pick up another card, or
maybe
throw a monster down.
Playing it wrong.
There's some weird stuff going on as well. Yeah, maybe we are playing it wrong, but that whole, like, it's a race to level 10.
Yes.
There's no way of tracking what level you are. Like, you just have to remember. You have to download an app.
It does say on the box and in the rules that each player has to have a way of tracking which level they are. So, like, usually it's a notepad and pen, but
which they don't provide.
Which they don't provide. But I played with an app previously on the iPad version, and it's so much easier with an app.
I mean, it's not even complicated. You're remembering a number from 1 to 10, so they could have just given you literally anything. Dice, gems, bits of paper, a token.
Some sort of chit.
Just a track with a little token.
Yeah.
A wooden square on a track.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
Yeah. But items can sort of like boost your strength as well. So you get your level, which tells you how strong you are, but then an item might give you +4, which doesn't give you +4 levels, it just gives you +4 in total. So you end up getting quite strong quite quickly, unless you're Dave, because you never really fight any monsters, because the cards weren't shuffled that way.
Any monsters.
You picked up the wrong cards.
I ended the game at level 2, but only because...
But you had you only had 4 or 5 strength anyway. It was
if you play it again, Dave, you should pick up different cards. That's my advice.
That's my intent. Probably just a different game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pick up different cards out of a different box with different components from a different game.
Good thinking.
I think the meat of the game is in the take that element, and Dave threw an awful lot of take that, you buggers.
It would have been satisfying.
Yeah.
But it's one of them.
You outtake that.
Why are you helping
Gary Barlow.
people?
That's
like,
what you did.
You get a bit of treasure, but look, now he's level 7. And it's like, I think it'd be funny if it was your first ever game and you were drunk.
Did you find the cards humorous with their
some of them
funny names?
Well, I got the brown nosed hireling, and he kind of follows you around for a little bit until someone else gets a higher level than you, and then he floats off towards them, which I thought was quite nice.
I've never been a fan of...
There's some good humour in it, but it's very, like... it's basic.
I've never been a fan of this like fantasy.
Silly fantasy.
I think it's a nice way to theme up what is essentially just a quick party game.
Yeah, but like it seems a bit overly done. Like I'm one of these people that didn't particularly like Terry Pratchett, so it's probably not for me anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't compare it to Terry Pratchett.
No. But anything in that sort of ballpark turns me off straight away. It's like with the Sadler's that new Warhammer quest that they were making,
Fantasy.
Awful Fantasy. Like straight away, that was a no, and it didn't matter. I didn't even want to look at it.
It is a family game, and it doesn't kind of like masquerade as anything more than that. It's very kid friendly. Like there's nothing in there that
there is a garter snake, which
a little bit racy.
Yeah, it's got a pink frilly knickers with a snake wrapped around a lady's thigh. Yeah.
Yes.
So there are
outcries across the internet about how disgusting it is.
There are several versions of this game as well.
Banned in Germany.
Yeah, several versions of this game where it's the same base game, but it's just slightly different variants and cards and stuff. But there must be like 6 or 7 different versions of it knocking about.
Do you need more
it's
than
very
one?
Popular. Very popular.
Do you need more than none?
Steve Jackson does.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a bit like Love Letter, isn't it? It's like there's a million versions of that, but it doesn't really bring much to it apart from Lovecraft Letter.
I was literally about to mention that. I would say I approached this with the same mentality that I approached like Catan and those kinds of games where we sort of need to have played it just to kind of tick it off. But Love Letter I managed to derive enjoyment from, at least some modicum of enjoyment. This, I'll be happy to never see it again.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate
Tristan
it.
says, I just didn't feel anything. It
It
was just on the table while they waited for Sam.
Yeah.
That was it.
Sam's
got a lot to answer for.
Yeah. My friend Al's scout lead. I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but anyway, he swears by this game as like you take it out on camp with you and you can just play.
How old are scouts?
Anywhere.
36.
I'm going to say anywhere. Don't quote me on this. Someone can obviously comment and correct us, but I'm going to say anywhere between the ages of 12 and 18, up to about 17. So it's
kind of an alternative to sort of like the Magic the Gathering type of stuff. So.
If you want to play, not even that. It's just if you want to play something like within about an hour, you don't have to learn too many rules. You can teach someone as you play in. You can have a lot of fun.
Raphael
with
was
it.
having fun.
Yeah, I think he was really getting into it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he really seemed to enjoy that you take that element. He really wanted to like throw stuff at other people.
Yeah.
So which was quite good fun. There's some monster cards that you can get called wandering monsters. So you can kind of throw those into someone's fight to kind of slow them down a bit. But again, it's all very basic things. There's nothing in the game that's really going to surprise you when it comes at you. But that's half of the fun, really, seeing how someone's going to try and just mess things up for you.
Half the fun of one fun.
Yeah.
Half a fun.
I mean, compare it to the
50%
fun. Compare it to the take that elements in Spartacus, and it's not got a leg to stand on.
That's it. I think if it is a gateway game.
Definitely. It's a first game repertoire.
Yeah, that's what, and it's mainstream. It's like a mainstream game, isn't it? It's not
it's
really
kind
a
of
gamer's game.
Monopoly sort of level.
Yeah,
yeah. I think that's the only reason that we've sort of.
It's up there with like Ticket to Ride and Catan as being
Ticket to Ride's really good.
People's first game.
I still think Ticket to Ride's really good.
Have you got it?
I've still not played it.
Not got it. I played it a fair amount.
I'd give that a go.
Maybe get it.
Actually, I've no interest in trains whatsoever. But
I mean, it's
still more appealing.
It's not going to blow. It's not going to blow your mind. It's like what? It's 15 years old, more.
Yeah.
But it's still really good, and it's foundation.
Yeah.
For a lot of what came after. So
cool. Well, there you go. Munchkin, in particular, Moops Monster Mashup. It's a game. We didn't have the best time of it. I've played it previously and really enjoyed it.
It might have just been
but
us.
With more people. Yeah.
Better people.
I blame Dave.
I think you need a lot of people to play this game. Like 6 or 7 people, and then cards are constantly being thrown at each other, and it's all just madness. But the second it slows down, boredom sets in because there's not a lot there.
Do you think we went into it a bit like, we'll just get like, what's this?
I feel like we might have come to it with a foregone conclusion of this game is not worthy of the table.
Shouldn't do that.
No, but sometimes
be open-minded, uncynical, and half-drunk.
Yeah,
because then we can still reach the same conclusion,
but honestly,
yeah. I think we're just disappointed it wasn't Rise of Fenrir.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, the second game we played tonight was Legendary Encounters Predator, a deck building game by Upper Deck. And oh my god, it's brilliant. It's my favourite deck builder ever, and I can't get enough of it. Let's play it again now.
Spoiler alert, Leki.
Oh, sorry, I mean...
Ease people in gently.
So, it's a deck building game based around Predators 1 and 2, the movies, the sci-fi genre.
Does that mean this came out before Predators?
Yeah, I think so. Because that was fairly recent. That was like the last 4 years. How old is this game now? When was it published? Do we know? Can we remember? Can we see on the box?
Pause the tape.
We don't Google this stuff. We just
2015.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
that's
it probably
before
did.
Predators.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that 2016?
say.
Predators can't be more than 2 years. But this game doesn't follow that. It just follows 1 and 2.
Yeah. The best Predator films.
The best Predator films.
And it doesn't follow the Alien versus Predator films either.
We're all thankful for that.
Yeah.
Although, if you do have the Alien deck building game, there's an extremely complex way to combine it with the Predator.
Never
which
tried
we'll
that.
Never do.
Yeah. But also, Legendary Encounters Aliens. Also, really good.
Yeah, better, I think.
Quickest review
only
we've ever
only because there's more. So Predators.
You're talking about Alien now.
Yeah,
Alien
so Legendary Encounters, they're both deck building games. They both use the same legendary system that Marvel Legendary came out with. So you draw a hand of cards, and all your cards have got one of two numbers on them, and then maybe a special ability. So the two numbers are going to let you buy more cards for your deck, or start killing things that are in on a track. It's a combat zone that you want to sort of scan this combat zone with the combat stat and then kill it. But where this one differs from Alien Legendary Encounters is they add the Marvel bit. So Marvel was player versus player, and you're playing for victory points. Whereas Alien Legendary Encounters was completely cooperative. Mm-hmm. So that's got this mode, but it's also kind of got the mode from Marvel where you're playing as a predator and you're fighting humans, but you're trying to get more victory points because you're trying to be the master of the hunt or whatever.
Yeah, it's got the versus option. It's got basically each game has 4 scenarios. The Alien game has 4.
Which is why I think it's slightly better because it gives you more cooperative, and I think it works better as a cooperative game.
Definitely. We tried. We did do the Predator versus version a while back, but it was a bit of a crapshoot, and it's a lot like Marvel Legendary, which to be honest I'm not a massive fan of.
I'm not.
It's a Victory Point collection game, and it's got all these thematic things happening that just don't mean anything. Whereas in the Encounters games, it drives forward an actual a bit of a narrative, really. You're experiencing the story of the films.
You're slamming through objectives, aren't you?
Yeah.
But then with the way that the characters and the flavour text all build up, you very much feel like you're working through a narrative, like you're saying.
Working through the actual scenarios.
And it doesn't feel like Marvel doesn't feel as cognitive or cerebral. With Predator and Aliens, you feel a lot more like you're trying to work out a puzzle. You're trying to each player is trying to maximise the deck in order to work this efficient machine where you can really just all burst through and work together.
Yeah.
Whereas Marvel just feels like I'm just collecting a few bits and pieces of colours.
It has better artwork.
Better artwork, but crap.
Predator also improves on the mechanics from the Alien. So even though you only get the 2 scenarios, the 2 movies instead of all 4 co-op movies from the Alien game, the actual mechanics are tweaked slightly and improved. So the combos that you get on the individual cards work better. Yeah. You can coordinate with each other. You can play on other people's goes. And it's more fun.
Do that. You can do that in the Alien one, but it's slightly different. I think
they don't have like showboating and brothers in arms and stuff. They've got,
they've changed the abilities, but they're not lesser versions. They're completely different. So you can play like some of the cards from the Alien.
You could coordinate, but you couldn't. They just weren't as interactive. You didn't have as many options for comboing and stuff. Whereas now you're a lot more in control of your own destiny. Alien was very much. It just dishes out the beatings and you're sort of beholden to.
But there was some abilities, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there were some abilities that were in the Alien, and I was quite surprised that they weren't carried forward into Predator. I know that it allows more design space for the cards, and then you can use cards from each set and have more options, which is good, but there were sort of some that I thought were fundamental to the encounter system that just weren't used. Like all of the avatar cards in Predator have got this call to arms mechanic, where when other people coordinate with you, you get an ability that triggers. That wasn't in the Aliens game. I can't remember what it was, but it was something different.
You just got a card in your deck that let you draw a card or get extra strength and stuff.
Yeah, but it triggered off something else.
Yeah. You feel like you really have to work for those combos, though. You can't just buy a better card and wait for it to come round. you have to really concentrate on which cards you're buying and really go for those sets.
Yeah, and it mixes it up between the scenarios. Like in the first one, you're looking for different options. You want a different hand of characters from the game. Whereas in Predator 2, you want, because they showboat, it's actually better to collect the same multiple versions of the same character. So it does mix that up a little bit. I still have the thematic disconnect that I have with most deck builders, which is just this arbitrary sense of shuffling and then seeing what comes out and what comes down.
Yeah.
And the person that you play is really weird. You don't actually get to play as Danny Glover or Arnold Schwarzenegger's characters. They appear in your deck, but you're like a generic avatar of a policeman or a soldier or a tracker or whatever. And that's completely just doesn't come into the game. It doesn't feel... Even though the scenario is dripping with theme and you've got all the events from the films happening and these aliens coming at you or predators coming at you and all that kind of stuff, from turn to turn, what you're actually doing as a player in the game, to me, I don't really know what's happening. You know, you play down these cards and it's like, I've got brute strength, and now I'm buying influence to do a thing where the commander turns up and goes into... It's just very... Deck building, I think, is very abstract.
The theme isn't in the turn, is it? The theme's kind of in the...
It's sort of like an abstraction of what's happening.
It's in the objectives.
Yeah. It's what you achieve in your turn is the theme. You can sort of go, I shot that guy. But how you actually do it is really strange.
Yeah, you never feel when you're taking your turn and playing the cards that's where the story's really progressing.
Yeah.
It's the predators, monsters and the gorillas that are coming out for the locations and the scanning that really like drive that story and make you feel like, this is like the movie. It's great because that's a bit when they like went and killed everyone.
And the individual characters aren't different enough. You've just got a different health stat. Like I've got 9, you've got 12, he's got 10 or whatever. And then you've got that one card in your deck that's different, the call for backup one.
Yeah.
And I think that's retrofitting an individual character onto a system that just wasn't designed for it. If you go back to Dominion, it was more abstracted. You were paying gold to build castles and all kinds of things. Yeah. So you didn't actually play the role of an individual character. And now that you do in these modern like Legendary Encounters type games,
DC as well. So you play as a character, don't you?
You play but you're like an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., aren't you? And you buy Hulk for a turn and you buy Spider-Man for a turn. So again, it's got that weird... Well, not again, it's a continuation of that. But I do much prefer this. It is... What narrative there is honed down into the gameplay. And even though... Like I say, turn to turn, I don't really know what's happening story-wise or narrative-wise. I do really enjoy it, and I can get over the completely mismatched artwork, which varies from the pretty cool to absolutely shonking.
Some of the artwork, you're left wondering if the artist was actually like saw the movies, or was just described what the scene should look like,
or not described what the scene should look like.
Some of it's just okay. But then some of it's really good. I think the best card is the Flesh Wound Strike card. That looks like Arnie's really taking a punch from the Predator and there's like blood everywhere, and it's pretty cool. Worst cards? Who knows?
The ones with a lot of the Predator 2 cards are quite...
Anything involving Hannigan. He just doesn't look anything like Danny Glover.
Yeah, the Predator 2 character cards are quite... I don't know, they just seemed... I don't know if it's the same artist. I don't think it is.
It can't be. Look at the Predator art. Some of the Predator art.
The art on the Predator cards is really, really good. And it was the same with Alien. With the Alien one, the aliens I thought looked good, but the characters didn't.
I'm just going to call it. I'm just going to say likeness rights. So it's like...
they
can't look too much like the actors because we can't actually make them look like that. So let's just draw a stick man. But make your alien look awesome.
It's a weird one because I used to absolutely hate screenshots in movies, in games, screenshots of movies in games.
Yeah.
But when the artwork is this inconsistent, I wonder if I would prefer it, because obviously as well, I'm such a massive fan of all the Alien movies and the Predator movies. I don't think it would irk me as much as seeing like Star Trek Next Generation characters or whatever turning up in a game. And I think with this, maybe that would be a better route. It might be.
Yeah. It can work. There was an Alien versus Predator card game years ago, going back to the 90s now, but I think it was from Decipher. I'm not 100% sure. Played loads of it, but it was photos from both the Aliens franchise, I think it was mostly Aliens, and the Predator. Yeah. And then they had other stuff. They'd shot their own like pictures as well that were a bit, you could kind of tell that's not quite movie quality.
Stock footage.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the likenesses comes as part of the license for the movie? I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
I would have thought
it would be a whole different negotiation. But I'm only thinking in terms of, for example, Mark Chaplin did the Aliens This Time It's War card game, and just it was a free to play game, so he wasn't charging for it. But he used screenshots from the movies, and it's brilliant. It really immerses you in the story of the films.
Yeah,
and it's one of those occasions where I think again, with the Star Wars artwork that they do on Fantasy Flight, they get it bang on with all their Star Wars games. It looks brilliant. And I think perhaps screenshots wouldn't be as good because then you can go into the expanded universe. You got cool lightsaber effects and all that kind of stuff. Whereas in this, because it ranges in quality so much, if they did use screenshots, I think it could look fantastic, especially if you had the right graphic design and stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't detract from what Leki said at the start, which is that it is a really fun game to play.
A really fun game, and it's soz hard as well, isn't it? It's so difficult to
see
beat.
that, but how good did we do tonight?
We
creamed
won
it tonight.
We won both. So we played the Predator 1 and 2 scenarios. We got to the chopper.
Yeah, we didn't kill the Predator.
No.
Yeah, that's the big win, isn't it? Taking the Predator down and escaping.
But we ran away on the helicopter.
We were pretty heavily.
We could have killed it.
Right.
I think we could have killed it, but I think it was a bit risky, wasn't it? We could have killed it if someone would have got a strength coordinate.
No one wants to be that guy left behind, dead in the jungle.
We would have most likely have got killed before we'd killed it. But then by the time we got to LA, several years into the future, then we just mullered the Predator. It didn't really give us much of a...
But there was some touch and go situations.
The gang at the beginning gave us the shellacking.
Yeah, we looked set to get killed in the first act, didn't we? But then your combos really came into play and you started just healing everyone's
just the heals.
That final move that you did was like touched by the gods.
Just healed everything.
Walked through LA like Jesus, healing everyone, murdering every predator in sight.
I think Jesus did that, but yeah.
It was pretty... I don't know, you should read your Bible again.
The New Testament.
Really do. It did feel like, we were up against it at some points, and then, we did bring it back for the win at the end. But that's counter to our previous experience of the game, which is that it is usually quite difficult. But I do think we played differently as a group tonight, which is that we were actually coordinating and cooperating, whereas I think in the past we have sort of played this as a case of, I want the cool cards in my deck, and I don't care about you guys.
Yeah.
Whereas there was almost... every other turn, people were helping each other out with coordinates and stuff tonight. We
were constantly communicating tonight, which is a bit of a difference to how we normally play it, because sometimes you kind of get so involved in what you want to do from turn to turn and which predator card you're going to kill or which areas you're going to scan, that you stop paying attention to what other people are doing.
Yeah, and you go for the highest card because it's the coolest card, rather than you could really do with this card, so I'll save it for you.
Exactly.
And there was a little bit of that.
Or you draw a coordinate and you forgot to tell everyone it's there, so no one gets the benefit of it.
Yeah.
Whereas we were constantly talking in this one, and the predators paid the price because of it. Yeah.
So there's a lesson in there. Look, when you play a cooperative game, you should play cooperatively. I think it's only taken us about 5 years to learn that.
But we've played other cooperative games though that have been so much easier than this, and you don't have to talk to each other as much. I just feel like this game it's at the right level of balance where if your concentration slips a little bit, you lose. And then if you play really well, you'll win, but it'll be quite tight.
Yeah.
Whereas other games, you just don't get that. And because of that, it feels like it's really, really great feeling when you do win, even if it's a janky, we just got away on the chopper sort of win. And it's like Dead of Winter. Dead of Winter felt a bit like that. I don't think we ever won.
It is one of those games though, isn't it, where you can get boned within the first couple of turns. It is completely...
it comes at you
the draw.
The very first moment.
Yeah, which is, I'm not complaining, but sometimes that can happen. I think we might talk about this in a minute, but the Firefly Encounters, that happened to me in the first 3 or 4 games that I played of that. There was nothing that I could have done. Yeah. And it just put me off the game. And it's the same system, just sort of evolved slightly.
It was... The Firefly one was a strange one because... I don't think it has the same... Because the Firefly's nothing like these movies. These movies are all about surviving against horrible, overwhelming odds, whereas Firefly was like ongoing, fun, action-adventure kind of story. So what they tried with the game is all different... I think every episode of the series is represented in an objective card.
I think that's the most scenarios that I've seen.
So you end up with like 9 or 10 objectives. And you have a campaign where you keep the Firefly, keep Serenity going, you can do ship improvements.
Wasn't very good though.
But it was kind of stitched together, and it also meant that every single objective was completely different, which meant you got a real variety of cards. But in Predator, you've got a bunch of predators coming out, and in Alien, you've got a bunch of aliens coming out. Whereas in Legendary, in Firefly, you were like, oh, we've got pirates. Oh no, we've got to go on an adventure and do that. And it was just changing it up every single time you played to no real benefit. You didn't feel like you were reaping the story benefit.
I don't think the system itself is particularly good. Firefly, I didn't play very much. I've got Big Trouble in Little China, but I've never opened it because I'm not really that interested.
Are you a fan of the movie?
Yeah, I love the movie.
But you're not interested in the game.
But
that uses not the Encounters.
That's not Encounters.
System,
And Marvel, it's the same. It is the same system. You're just playing for victory points rather than cooperatively. It's the same. It's the exact same system.
Which is it's a missed opportunity, because if they'd done an Encounters version of Big Trouble in Little China, that could have been pretty cool. Yeah, because that was a mission where they were trying to survive against all the baddies and everything.
But I think this and Alien, I don't want to say that IP elevates it, but I think the application of the IP to the system elevates it.
It does an awful lot for it.
No, I think it does. I think it does elevate it. You're right. It suits it, and it suits the system, and it lifts it. Whereas if you do stitch a different IP on, like Firefly or Big Trouble in Little China,
I just think it lends itself to it. You couldn't throw Alien. I mean, look at the Alien Colonial Marines PC game. They threw the Aliens thing on that, and it was still a janky game.
Right. Not actually played it, but I'll take your word for it.
It's not very good.
I mean, there's been some shonky Alien games in the past.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't just throw the IP at something and it's good. And I think there is something there in the system with this.
Yeah.
I don't think it works for everything.
Survival horror.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead, Legendary Encounters,
Resident
would
Evil
be awesome.
Scanning for what's coming down the corridors. You don't know what it is, and then you find it and you shoot it and whatever. That all works. Even you could put a squad of Marines, with hostiles coming at you, kind of thing. That would work. But when you start sort of floating off to romantic comedies or
Space Campers, Frasier, Legendary Encounters. No, thank you.
Sign me
I got
up.
6 callers coming right at me.
Exactly. It does what it does very well, but like you say, it's got the right scope for it. You can't add too many items into it, like with Firefly, because it all kind of falls apart. With Marvel, there's not probably enough scope in there in terms of objectives, so it's basically just like set collection, isn't it? Really, I
will defend the Marvel game slightly.
It's not.
There was an expansion that I've got, Dark City, and it basically turns it into a difficult game. So the bosses become difficult. So it's still competitive. You're competing for victory points, but suddenly now it's hard. In the base game, the bosses were literally just there to give you more victory points. They barely did anything. In this Dark City expansion, everything got quite a lot more difficult, and it was better. It was more of a game, but it was still that competitive side of it that doesn't work. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it doesn't work for superheroes, really. I mean, you get like Batman versus Superman and those kinds of stories as one-offs, but the whole thing, if we were playing as the Avengers, you want to be working together against the bad guys.
Yeah.
And we love competitive games, but I think certain situations warrant cooperative, and playing as the Avengers and Spider-Man, everybody against bad guys, that's a cooperative game right there. So the fact that you're arbitrarily competing for victory points completely turned me off the gameplay, even though you've got all the lovely card combos, great artwork and all that kind of stuff, and a great IP. It just doesn't work in the same way that the legendary encounters of Predator and Alien specifically excel, I think.
Yeah, it's a good complex game as well, isn't it, in terms of like deck building. Like compare it to like Dominion. I know Dominion's a lot older. It's just like light years ahead.
It's some really well thought out card combinations. They've not just come around randomly. You can tell that a lot of thought. Even this goes back to Marvel as well, though. Like each character played differently.
Yeah.
I think the designers know what they're doing within the system.
Yeah.
But as the series apart from Firefly, have gone on, it's really, really showed. And I think this, even though I still prefer Alien Encounters, I think this one's got sort of deeper ideas.
Yeah. No, I think thematically I prefer Alien to Predator as well. But, and that's the one I go back to because it's got the 4 movies and they're all distinctly different, whereas here you're done after the 2 Predators.
I think I've only played the first 2 scenarios for Aliens, and I do prefer the scenarios for Predator. It just feels like there's...
I think I probably do, actually.
Yeah, they just feel like a bit more tense. Yeah. There's a bit more in it. It'd be good to go revisit Aliens and just see if
I think it holds up. I've gone back to Alien after playing Predator, and it still definitely holds up.
Yeah.
But I think you're right.
I think it feels a little bit more pared down because Predator's had more room to breathe since.
Yeah.
but there's nothing like going to Hadley's Hope and just blasting aliens.
I do think you're right though. The scenarios in Predator are more refined than the Alien ones, especially some of them, like the Resurrection one. I wasn't a massive fan of in Alien, but the rest of them are still pretty good.
Disconnect?
No, I didn't mind. I didn't mind Alien Resurrection. I know I'm like the only person at the table probably. I didn't mind it. It's all right. It's like a 6. Right.
When we watched them
review.
all in a row last year, Francesca hadn't seen them, so I made her sit down and sit through all of them, and we rewatched them, and my order flipped. Like, I preferred Alien Resurrection to Alien 3, which I know it's upset a lot of people, but it was more fun.
I really like Alien 3.
Alien 3, it's so shonky. The CGI is so awful.
But I watched it.
The director's cut does nothing to rescue it. It just makes it even more unbearable.
I think the director's cut might have saved it for me. Because I watched it when I was a kid. I was like 10. And I watched it and it made no sense to me. I didn't know what was going on. And then I read the book and I thought the book was brilliant. It was like the book of the film.
Yeah, I watched the book before I could watch the film.
I watched all 3. I read all 3. Like, it was a trilogy of the films. And I think when I understood what was going on in the film, it made more sense, but they made some really stupid decisions. They cut a lot out. I think as a story, it would have been good if they'd have done it.
Yeah, I think Fincher pretty much disowned it because it was hacked to bits by the studios and it changed. It evolved so many times.
So what you're saying is watch Alien, watch Aliens, then watch Alien again, then watch Aliens again.
And you'll have a better... You'll still have a better time. No, you will have a...
We talked about playing these games. I did and you did, played it when they arrived, the Aliens Legendary Encounters ones, whilst watching the movies in the background. And I even had the DVD commentary going because it's just brilliant to immerse yourself in that world and have the soundtrack going like we did tonight with the Predator soundtrack and stuff.
They're really evocative games, aren't they? Like the theme shines through.
Yeah, and you get over. I get over all my fussy narrative disconnects because the overarching takeaway is you've had a great sort of taste of flavour of the movies.
Yeah, you agree?
Yeah, I do. One thing I would say, I do think they run a little bit long with sort of 4 people.
Yeah,
I think we started at 8 o'clock, so it's midnight now, but we have been chatting on it.
There's a fair amount of downtime between turns, and if you do coordinate on somebody else's turn, that's literally all you're doing is playing a card and drawing a card to replace it.
Yeah.
So I could see that you're not in control of the turn order or anything like that. But I think it rattled along pretty quickly.
About 90 minutes a game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think so. It says 30 to 60 on the box. I disagree with that. Also, the setup, we should probably mention, setup's a bit of a pain.
Yes,
Just as it is with deck builders, but with this, when you have
it's a monster.
Yeah, you have to concoct the different stages and
a lot of shuffling, and
I always pack it away ready to go, so that next time it's you can break it out.
And you can mix it up. You can use like Dutch and his team from Predator in the mean streets of LA. You can even switch like level 2 scenarios out, so you could you could attack the guerrilla camp in Predator 1 and then you could, whatever scenario 2 is, try and find clues to where the Predator is in LA, then go back and get to the chopper
in Hadley's Hope or in Aliens.
We've never done that.
You could do that.
Would never do that. No, I would never do that.
It involves so much card management that your brain might actually melt.
And I'm not going to go and stick Danny Glover in Hadley's Hope either. No. I mean, I could do.
It would just end up with a game of 1200 card pickup.
Yeah. As I threw him at the table in disgust.
There you go. So that's fantastic. So we had a real good old time with.
I've not played it in a long while. It's nice to break it out.
It's great. It's difficult to play deck builders after playing these now because there's just so much for them to compete against.
I'm going to break out Alien after you guys leave.
Ooh, I like deck builders. I like deck builder mechanics in bigger games.
That's like, part of the game and not the game entirely.
Yeah, I'm not mad on just full on deck builders, but things that utilize, like Mage Knight's a good example. I think that used deck building quite well.
Yeah. Shadowrun's got a decent take on it as well.
Shadowrun's brilliant. In fact, Shadowrun and Dragonfire, Shadowrun Crossfire and Dragonfire are probably my favourite deck builders still.
Mine's still Predator, so no. But let us know.
Let
us know what your thoughts on deck builders are. What is
Thunderstone?
Yeah. Oh dear.
I'm just joking.
Yeah. Let us know. Let us know if you do prefer Thunderstone or if you, like me, Legendary Encounters, Predator all the way. You can find us on Twitter at board_chitless. You can find us on Facebook. Just search #BoredShitless and join our Facebook group. And you can just comment on SoundCloud and iTunes as well. And don't forget to subscribe and share. So until next week, thank you very much. And see you for the episode 50 part A.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.